Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Ladies and gentlemen, what most people don't understand is that this has all been planned. And what is this? It is the controlled destruction of the United States of America in every way possible. Not only from the food supply, to the water supply, to the financial system, to our government allowing our nation to be invaded. All right, to the food system that we rely on to feed us things that are ultra processed and that are not good for us. Even those things that we think that are good for us really are not. So what can you do about it? It's very simple. You can get prepared as best as possible, because as long as we have a government that does not care for the people, and I understand some of you are going to say, well, there's a few people in government that are great, that are patriots, that love this country, and I agree with you 100%. But it seems that these days most do not, and all they care about is preserving themselves instead of representing those who they were elected to represent. I remember someone saying once that after the collapse, those people that would flourish and do the best are the people that are now considered poor and that have nothing because they're used to going without. Haitian migrants demonstrate remarkable food survival skills, and Americans are taking note, as well they should. Whatever you think about Springfield and the invasion, one thing is crystal clear. When the famine hits hard, the Haitians know where to find food. Average Americans who are living on processed junk food from the grocery store will largely be clueless and will starve. The coming engineered food collapse and financial collapse will indeed see migrants, invaders demonstrating a much higher survival rate than typical Americans, as they truly possess more street survival skills. Eating geese caught in the city park is also known as wild-crafted meat, and if things get extreme enough, you will see widespread cannibalism in America's collapsing cities. Yes, people will begin to eat people. This has all been engineered, ladies and gentlemen. It's why you need to prepare, because it's being done on purpose. And as much as I say it, I will always get some blowback. The government does not care about you. The government's duty is to sustain government and grow bigger in order for it to stay alive. Unless government continues to grow, it will vanish, ladies and gentlemen. Why? Because we exist in a system which is a fiat currency system that is credit-based. Meaning that if the government doesn't continue to grow, then it's going to collapse. Take a look at all of these jobs that were supposedly created last year, and take a look at what portion of the job were actually government jobs, meaning that government continues to grow on the dime of the American people, even though that growth is hindering our standard of living itself. The Deagle predictions show that 200 million Americans will be exiting this world in the next 15 months or so. You've all heard about the Deagle charts that show the depopulation of the United States of America and also other Western nations along with other countries in the world. I think it's by the year 2025 or so, something like that. So that's what they're talking about here. Let's hope that it does not happen, but it's quite clear the only thing necessary for the anti-human globalists to achieve that is to cut off the groceries, something that the vice president has already promised to do, ladies and gentlemen, via price controls. And believe me when I tell you that price controls will make food more scarce, make it extremely more expensive for the average person to buy. This is the time that you want to get prepared. Not only with food, but with those things that preserve your purchasing power, because food will always be available. The question is, how much of it will be available? And the less that is available, the more that it will cost. And if you depend on that fiat currency, the Federal Reserve note, to buy you the same stuff tomorrow that it does today, then you are gravely mistaken and you have not been paying attention to the last several years. And before we go on to our next story, I want to thank the sponsor of this video, Genesis Gold Group, which works with helping you preserve your wealth, ladies and gentlemen. Now look, Genesis Gold Group is not the one-all be-all, and they probably wouldn't like me saying that. But that is the truth. I present to you these sponsors. Why? Because they provide a product which I believe in, and wealth preservation is extremely important. Because you don't want to give up all of those hours that you work to put away some savings to the inferno of inflation. If you want, take Genesis Gold Group, give them a call, or use the link that I provide in the description of the video in order so that they can give you a free consultation. And you can decide between them, and I would say go pick 3 or 4 or 5 other precious metals dealer and go with the one that you like or that will service you the best. So thank you very much, Genesis Gold Group, for sponsoring this video. Authorities in Texas are taking legal action after a horde of invaders swarmed and seized control of the Gateway Hotel in El Paso. No longer are there normal paying guests staying at the Gateway Hotel, but rather a steady stream of gang members in and out who are using the property as a hub for committing violent crime activity in Texas and beyond. And wait until you hear who it is that the authorities blame. It's somewhat laughable, but really not. The El Paso County Attorney's Office filed for a temporary injunction, a restraining order, and a petition for abatement against the Gateway Hotel for allowing the facility to be turned into a crime hub for a violent foreign gang. If successful, the Gateway Hotel will be shut down entirely. So it's all the fault of the owners of the Gateway Hotel. It's not the fault of the authorities who are doing nothing about it. It's not the fault of this administration up in Washington who is allowing these people to come through unchecked and even unannounced. It's not their fault. It's the fault of the small business owner who just wants to eke out a living, who wants to live the American dream, who wants to have a business and is an entrepreneur, which is what America runs on. 60 to 70% of American businesses are mom and pop businesses, are middle class businesses. So who do these people blame instead of themselves and the system which allowed these horde of invaders to come through our porous borders? They blame the business owners. It's kind of like blaming the person who's at home minding their own business for taking out someone who breaks into their home who wants to do them harm. Oh, who are we going to go ahead and put in jail? Not the person that broke in, but the person that defended themselves against an illegal action. And the reason that I didn't highlight this here that is in bold letters is because I was like, hey, P, don't be talking about, politics. Don't be taking sides. But no, I should have highlighted this in red. Thanks, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, for destroying America. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, these two persons who have been running this country, or whoever's been running them to run this country for the last several years, are destroying America. Their goal is to destroy America. And if you think not, get your heads out of your ass, because that is a fact. Just take a look at what's been going on for the past several years. Take a look at day one of this administration to go ahead and shut down that pipeline that goes from Canada to the United States of America that transports oil, and to effectively shut down or eliminate 100,000 plus jobs, in which America became poorer and more dependent on outside sources for the lifeblood of our economy, which is energy. But I know, Orange Man bad, whatever. From what we know, TDA now has a presence in Texas, Colorado, and New York City. There are likely other cities where the gang is setting up shop as well, as the Biden regime's open border policies wreak havoc on America. You could say it's an armed invasion, and that's what it is, and one that's not being addressed by those elected to protect and defend the nation, one commenter wrote, and I agree with that commenter 100%. Another one says impeachment is too good for this entire current administration. And another, I guess Trump was right about them not sending their best. said another, referring to the many times back in 2016 where Trump warned that they were going to go ahead and send people from gangs, people from prison, people that were undesirables. If we have immigration into the United States of America, it should be through the front door, and only those that have been vetted and that will add to the United States of America, not take away. And to finish it off with one last quote, how do these people that invade our country benefit us? They do not, said another. What a waste of hundreds of billions of dollars of our tax dollars and resources. And the thing is, ladies and gentlemen, is that people will continue to vote for those people that harm them and harm the United States of America. It's the Stockholm Syndrome. And it's also the education system. I met a young man, very, very sharp guy, but he had gone through the education system that currently exists. And we started talking about inflation. And what was his answer to inflation? Oh, shut down all those greedy corporations that provide us with the energy that we need to have an economy, that provide us with all of those things that we use in order to have a high standard of living today, like clothes, like shoes, like cars, like food that's already been grown and picked and processed. All of those things, just shut them down, because they are greedy CEOs and corporations. But they've been taught nothing about the system that keeps us poor and was put in place in order to keep us poor and to keep us under the control of those that can print money out of thin air, i.e. the U.S. government and the Federal Reserve. And this system, ladies and gentlemen, doesn't care who's in office. It's going to continue to run until it can no longer run. And then I hope that you are prepared. Let me go ahead and turn it off on that note. Thank you again, Genesis Gold Group, for sponsoring this video. God bless every one of you. God bless America. I'm Alaska Prepper. I'm out.